Kia ora all. Here is a pack walk mission around Makara in Wellington with Jared, a Hiritanga College student with me and part of my Young Guns team. So we head out in the school holidays just to try and get a couple of crays, a couple of fish, just for a good mission. 30-minute walk around the coast is generally a pretty fruitful spot. Awesome seeing heaps of Paua and nice and shallow in about a metre of water. That makes me really happy. To see them, it means it's healthy and it means people aren't taxing all the small ones. Whenever I get in at spots where there are a lot of Paua, if I find a couple of decent sized ones, I always like to pop them early, just so then later in the dive it helps me get my eye in. Always measuring before they go in the catch bag, and if they're no good, back they go. Here's Jared, who's just popped a couple and leading by example, giving them a measure, and then if they aren't good, actually putting them back on a rock rather than just dropping them. Always happy to get a butterfish or two on early, so I know there is at least one dinner sorted, and then let the rest happen. Kind of cracks and caves like this, I love looking down and pulling the trigger, because you can generally find decent butterfish down hiding behind them. I took my old GoPro 5 out to do some recording of Jared, but then I looked at the case and realised it was leaking water and my side battery cover was open because it's puckered out. So trying to empty the water out, trying to save my GoPro, but no bro, she's pretty cooked now, so never mind. This is Jared just doing a drop. The current was humming and it normally is at the spot, so he did his breathe up by holding onto weeds and then just dropped down, hugged tight next to a rock, again holding on to the rock and some weeds, just to hold him in position to see what's happening. There's also heaps of rocks here where it's awesome. We could just have a quick breather and catch up and see what is going on, see some goals and have some shines. After fluffing around for a bit and getting a couple of butters on, thought I'd better try and hunt some crayfish. As I say, crayfish diving, it's not glorious until you find them. It is just looking through cracks under rocks. And this kind of weed here we call cray weed, because it seems to be really productive with finding crayfish when you find this weed. So there's huge amounts of it out here, so always camp it and always have a look around. It's a heavily dove spot this, but always seems to produce. So I was just chilling here about to go look for some crays, and then out of nowhere a kingfish swims past. So I go after it and pull the trigger, but I get the bunt of doom. I'm only in about 4 meters of water, and I see my spear actually hits it, but maybe just out of range, not too sure, gill plate, and then just drops out. Absolutely devastated, because that would have been such a perk, and only the first kingfish I've seen at this spot. I know other people shooting them. So then Jared shouts out, because there's heaps of bait fish around, so that gets us pretty excited, hoping this kingi's going to come back in, and we spend a lot of time kind of just fluffing around, doing drops, not pulling the trigger, hoping that we find that kingi or his mate again, but he's well and truly boosted now. With the pack walk, don't have the float boat, it's too big to take, just the old blow up bochet float and catch bag. So at the end of the dive, that's when we try to pop some Paua, rather than towing it around all dive and just wasting energy and having a heavy catch bag. So Paua at the end of the dive, just to lock in a bit more kaimana. This was about 6 or 7 meters, and that's beautiful diving. When you are diving the shallows especially, that I'll dive 6 or 7 every day of the week. Measure up, chuck them in the bag, and then prepare for the hikoi home. Bit of a mish, but we're on.